All right, let's talk about coffee. For so many of us, it's how we start our day, right? But that simple act, well, it's going through a huge change. We're going to dive into the new rules of coffee, what it means for your wallet, your morning routine, and yeah, maybe even the planet. So, have you felt that little jolt of pain at the cash register lately? That sticker shock when you buy your daily cup? You're definitely not imagining it. The price of basically everything coffee related, from that fancy latte to the beans you grab at the grocery store, it's just soaring. And we are not talking about a small bump here. In the US, get this, the price for ground coffee has skyrocketed by 33% in just 1 year. That's a record high. So what on earth is going on? But here's where it gets really interesting. You'd think with prices like that, we'd all be quitting coffee, right? Nope, not at all. We're actually not drinking less. Our caffeine habit is just unbreakable. Instead, we're getting creative. We're changing how we drink it. Okay, so first things first, let's break down this massive price shock. To really get why our habits are changing, you gotta understand what's making those coffee beans so darn expensive in the first place. Yeah, just let that sink in. This isn't a 5-year high or even a 10-year high. We are talking about the highest prices in almost 50 years. This is a massive, historic event, and you can bet its effects are rippling all the way down to your local cafe. So, what's behind this crazy spike? Well, it's not just one thing you can point to. It's really more like a perfect storm of global problems, all hitting the coffee supply chain at the exact same time. You've got extreme weather messing with the crops in key places. Then, on top of that, the cost of just about everything, production, shipping, it's all going up. And if that wasn't enough, you've got labor shortages and even some specific US tariffs thrown into the mix. It's a recipe for a huge price squeeze. And this table, this really shows you the problem. Look at how concentrated the market is. You've got Brazil and Vietnam at the top, and they produce a huge chunk of the world's coffee. So you can see what happens, right? If something goes wrong in just one or two of those places, everybody, everywhere, feels the pain. And guess what? That is exactly what happened. Brazil alone gives us almost 40% of our coffee. So when they get hit with a massive drought, it sends shockwaves through the whole market. At the same time, Vietnam got slammed with intense storms. It's this crazy climate whiplash that's just destroying harvests. And the scary part is, this is starting to look like the new normal. Okay, so supply is tight, prices are through the roof. Common sense says people would just stop buying it, right? But that's where the story takes a turn, because that's not happening at all. Our love for coffee, it seems to be completely unbreakable, which says a lot about us. Just look at this number, 400 billion. That's how many cups of coffee we drink around the world every single year. That makes it one of the most popular and, as we're seeing, one of the most resilient things people buy. A habit that big doesn't just vanish because of a price hike. And this expert, Kona Hawk, really hits the nail on the head. People aren't cutting back on their coffee, they're just trading down. Basically, they're finding smarter, cheaper ways to get that caffeine fix. They want the ritual, they want the energy, but they don't want to go broke getting it. So, all this economic pressure, it's kicked off a kind of quiet revolution in how we drink coffee. It's changing everything, not just what we're drinking, but where and how we're getting it. And a biggest change by far, we're heading back to the kitchen. A huge global survey found that almost 40% of us are making more coffee at home now, specifically to save money. The home brew revolution is officially here. And listen, we're not just talking about firing up an old drip machine. Oh no! People are becoming full-on home baristas. We're talking cold brew in the fridge, fancy cafe-style cups, even foaming milk with a French press. And of course, everyone's sharing their tips online. Hashtags like #HomeMadeCoffee have literally doubled in the last year. It's a whole movement. What's so wild about this is that it's a complete 180. For years, the big trend was trading up, right? Going for those premium, fancy, artisanal coffee shops. Now, the whole thing has flipped on its head. It is all about trading down for value and convenience, whether that means grabbing the store brand beans or hitting up a different drive-thru. And you can see this playing out in the real world. The data doesn't lie. Foot traffic is actually dropping at the big established chains. But at the same time, it's absolutely booming at those budget-friendly, super fast drive-thrus. People are voting with their wallets and their cars.
Okay, so we've seen these huge changes from our own kitchens all the way up to the global supply chain. But what does it all mean for the future of coffee? Where do we go from here?
Right, so here's the big takeaway. This isn't just some temporary blip that's going to go away next year. This whole price shock is actually pulling back the curtain on a new long-term reality. As these crazy weather events get more and more common, most experts are saying that, yeah, these higher prices are probably here to stay.
And this is where the story suddenly gets way bigger than just our morning cup. I love this quote. An expert called coffee the canary in the coal mine for climate change. Think about that. The problems hitting coffee right now, they're not unique. It's basically an early warning sign for our entire food supply.
So at the end of the day, this whole perfect storm has done a lot more than just mess with our budgets. It is fundamentally reshaping coffee culture itself. You know, for decades, we've talked about the coffee shop as that third place, not home, not work, a community spot. But the really big question now is that era over? Is it being replaced by a new culture that's all about speed, cost, and the convenience of just staying home?